So, alright, we at the point where we know about me writing music, even though I saw the DVD. I'm out of jail. I'm back in Baton Rouge. This time I'm not a student. I'm just kind of just living day to day, living however it come, however it come. Um, First night I got down there, I rapped a couple verses for the homies, and on some of the music that I was working on over the summer, over the fighting the trial, and they had knew about what was going on because I had told them. And so one day, this was some months in. This is like a month or two into me being back, maybe like a month. The homie EB, like me and him tight, so we riding everywhere. I'm on campus and all that. The ironic part about why I even got back down to Baton Rouge, they was like, "Yeah, we got an apartment on campus for you. You know what I'm saying? It's an abandoned room." And I was like, "Really? Yeah, you can stay in there. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody live in there." I was like, "Huh?" He's like, "Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You can stay in there if you want." Guess what room it ended up being? It ended up being my old room while I was on campus, while I was going to school. It was so eerie and just weird. I was like, heck no, I ain't living in there. I ain't sleeping there now one day. And it was just so depressing too. Like all these months later, that room been abandoned. Ain't nobody been living in it, and it's the old room I used to stay in on campus. And that was just so weird to me. You know what I'm saying? It was just like this whole situation just getting weird. But ended up staying down on and off campus for like a month. And one day the homie EB said, you want to go to the Yo? I'm like, yeah, we can go. Studio, right? So like, I'm like, cool. I've been rapping. We can go. So me and him went to the studio the first night, which was one of the homies that I had knew from previously, which is the homie Q. He was making beats and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, dang, this is kind of crazy how all this stuff coming together. So the homie Q was making beats, and me and the homie EB, we went to the studio. The first night we got in the studio, we made a cold track. It was cold. I ain't gonna lie. I don't remember exactly what song it was or what I was saying, but what I do remember was it was a dope song at that time in my mind frame. But I also knew that, you know what I'm saying, it was kind of like something exciting to do because at that time I'm just living around, I'm just laying around. I ain't really doing much but just kind of depressed. I wasn't myself, you know what I'm saying? I was not myself. I was the whole time I was in Louisiana, just as time went on, I was far from who I really was and who I really am. Not to say that that's a bad thing or that that whole state is like that. It's just that my lifestyle wasn't producing what I knew I could at the time. It wasn't Louisiana. I'm not blaming that, but I just knew I needed to be in a better place for me to really flourish. You know what I'm saying? Better place as far as emotionally, spiritually with God, not necessarily physically. But all I know is we started recording. Me and EB started recording a couple songs, and then the homie Hulk wanted to come through, and so we formed a three-man group. You know what I'm saying? And Hulk, you know, he kind of, you know what I'm saying, he had some connections. He was from H-Town, so he kind of had some connections here and there. And I remember we would go to we would go out to parties and all of that. And the thing was, with me, I would get so upset because it was like every time we went to a party, it would get shot up. And I'm just like, every time we went to the club, the parking lot get shot up. And so me personally, I just got so tired of just going. So I would just sit in the crib. When they would go out and party and all that, I would just be like, man, I ain't finna be around this. Plus, I was depressed. I really wasn't, you know what I'm saying, myself. I wasn't up. So I kind of just fell into another depression. And so the house that we stayed in had all kind of stuff going on. People coming around, just all kind of activity. You know what I'm saying? Just stuff going on. And I remember one night the homie EB came to me again after he had came back from the club, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a couple females. You know what I'm saying? That's you know what I'm saying. Meet me at IHop." So he took me with him, which was crazy because he knew I really wasn't going to the club no more. So the fact that he took me with him to IHop, I was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up." And I could just remember sitting in the IHop meeting. You know, when we first got in, as soon as I walked in. If you know anything about No Limit back in the day, No Limit Records, it was this group called Cain and Abel, and I remember one of the brothers or one of the twins from Cain and Abel was in IHOP, and I remember looking at him. He looked at me, and I could just remember it brought back memories. Because if you remember earlier in the story, I told you I used to listen to a lot of No Limit, and one of their CDs I used to just play all the time, and so it was like in some weird kind of way, it was like a lot of stuff was coming, like attract. I don't know if it's the law of attraction, but it was kind of weird in a lot of ways that I was seeing all this stuff. But I remember I seen him and he looked up at me and I was just like, he walked in and sat down, and I ain't gonna lie, I must have been looking bogus. Hair was all nappy. I wouldn't say nappy, but I was just like I wasn't polished. And so her homegirl, one of the girls that EB brought, her homegirl was like, "Man, I ain't feeling this." I was looking bogus, and I was depressed. But her friend, the one that was with EB, ended up being really, really nice and friendly and cool. And so from there, she would come by the apartment still and hang out with us, you know what I'm saying, and blow with us and just kind of hang out from time to time. And so we got to kind of just hang with her and know her. And it was cool, man. And like, I remember just thinking to myself, like, she cool, you know. And so we still making music and all that. And one day the homie Hulk in our group, he had some homies that knew, I guess, Slim Thug, the rapper from H-Town, from Houston, and they was a part of his entourage. So one night during Boosie's birthday, Slim Thug was coming through to hang out with Boosie for his birthday down in Baton Rouge, or go to the club, and he had an entourage with him. And my homie knew some of the people with them. So we ended up getting in the club with them. And so it was kind of funny to me because it was like, you know what I'm saying, we outside the club and then all these girls all of a sudden start coming up like, we with y'all. So it was kind of like my first taste of little, I guess that little fame or whatever. But it was kind of funny, but ain't, you know what I'm saying, that wasn't nothing major. It was just cool to kind of be around that time. But Slim Thug got us in the club. We walked around and kind of hung out with him. Not hung out with him. I didn't hang out with him, but like I was in the back around his entourage, a few people back. But I never really conversed with him, just to clear that up. But it was cool, you know. Boosie was on stage doing his thing. It was his birthday. All of the Baton Rouge, old school Baton Rouge was doing their thing, like Webby and all them. Compared to now, you know, gotta contextualize it. This was 2006, 2006. So, but I remember just kind of just being around, and I kind of pushed past my convictions with writing the music and a little bit. Plus, it was fun. Like everybody was feeling it. Like, man, y'all sound good. And the homie Q, our producer, was amping us up. Like, man, y'all come by every day. We was coming to the studio every day, just recording. You know what I'm saying? To the point where we had a bunch of songs, but it wasn't up to like it didn't sound like you know, studio quality. But the irony in that, and the crazy part is, in today's generation, had we came out then, or had we came out now, like the music we made back then. It's funny how that music that we made back then, it sounds very similar to how it sounds now sonically, and the subject matter what we was rapping about sounds very similar to now, and just the rawness of it. So the irony in the story is, it was like my homie was like, we got to go to Houston. It was getting towards the end of the semester. We was gonna break out. Everybody was gonna kind of break out and go back home. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, everybody make sure, you know what I'm saying, they come back next semester, because we're going to go to Houston when we get back and record in the studio so we can get it to sound polished. But nowadays, in the context of today, music don't even sound like that. Dudes be uploading songs and they be having views, videos, all that stuff. And it's kind of unique in a way that is like, we was so worried about trying to sound a certain way polished, but that ain't even how the game is now. You could, like, had we just put that stuff on YouTube, or had we just figured out how to upload it and get people to listen to it, we would have been doing what these dudes do now. You know what I'm saying? That's the irony of it. We were so worried about trying to get it record in a plush studio. So they was like, make sure everybody brings some money back. Next semester we gonna go record. But God had other plans.